under the night sky, trying to make me see your stars. But the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence. And the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
For Steve Bruce's side, a second half capitulation against Arsenal is where we start for the first part of the show. Part 2 is the game at Selhurst Park yesterday, where Patrick Van Halt's free kick was enough for Crystal Palace to get all 3 points. Steve Bruce is under immense pressure at the minute, and in part 3 we'll debate if Steve Bruce is the right man to take Newcastle forward. And in our final part, who are Newcastle's best 2 centre midfielders? If that's the formation Steve Bruce is going with, are Nabil Bentaleb and Sean Longstaff the main 2 guys for Newcastle United against Burnley on Saturday? Does Isaac Hayden deserve more of an opportunity? Get your views in on WhatsApp. Our number is 07476 497 166. Good evening, everyone. I'm here with Rob. How are you?
I am good, thanks. And yourself?
Very good, very good. Very busy, as normal. Lee, how are you?
I'm not bad, thanks for asking. Good trip to Arsenal, despite the result, and Palace for the last 7 to 8 years.
Got a bit of a Cockney accent now, have you?
Stack your mate.
I've got a special guest. Plays a little bit for North Shields on a Saturday. Always want to come on the show, so managed to grab him in. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good.
Looking forward to it?
I'm ready to give you my opinion on players, as tough as I might be on them.
That's what we're all about. We have got a WhatsApp message straight away. Hello lads, I'm Andrew from Poland, big fan of Newcastle and a subscriber to your channel. Thank you very much. I like to see you doing great work for the YouTube channel, Toon Army Poland. He's got a bit of a long paragraph, Rob, about the situation at the club. Obviously he's talking about the takeover and that he's not very happy with Steve Bruce, very clueless with the squad. That's all about part 3. But isn't it great to see Newcastle fans from around the world that just love this football club?
Oh, definitely. The more the merrier, I'd say, for Newcastle fans. It's great that we have fans reaching across the globe.
Yeah, for sure, Rob. Just a little thing that we need to do. There we go. So Premier League continue this weekend. No more winter breaks. Manchester United 3-0 win over Watford earlier on. Bruno Fernandes getting his first goal after the big move from Sporting Lisbon. Anthony Martial and Greenwood is also on the score sheet. He's always a great player, that Mason Greenwood. Great second name as well.
You say that every week.
I know. It's going to keep on saying that until
it's like an NE29 the lot of years.
He actually signed for Newcastle United next season on my Football Manager career.
Well, there you go. He's guaranteed goals. Wolves 3, Norwich 0. 2 goals from Jota and Jimenez, giving Wolves a big win, and Norwich bottom of the league still looks like they're going back to the Championship by the look of it. And at the minute it's Arsenal 3, Everton 2. Everton took the lead after a minute through Calvert-Lewin, but Nketiah and Aubameyang put Arsenal back in front. Yerry Mina, it was a very scrappy goal, Everton's second goal, but I think it's going to be credited to him. He got it back level for Everton just before half time, but Aubameyang again. 3-2 to Arsenal at the minute. If there's any more goals, we'll give you a shout, and we'll let you know. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Bring back Rafa. That's the first thing. He's been gone 6 months, 7 months, and it's still Rafa Benitez. Good evening, everyone. 4-2-3-1 Saturday, please, with no Bentaleb. That's another talking point. Things need to change by Joseph. Dave will know who this person is. James Parker's put. Is that Sharky sitting there? It's not Sharky. That's me.
Someone came up with you, didn't they, Johnny? Outside Palace's ground.
Yeah, I don't think me and Sharky look alike, but if Sharky's watching, you're one lucky person, aren't you?
Sound the same.
I can give you my glasses, then we
yeah, then that'll definitely be the case. What's the case? There's any chance of maybe not killing Mike Ashley, but any chance of Mike Ashley selling? I think that's probably going to be another topic of conversation. But if you want to get involved, it's 074 764 97166 on WhatsApp. Arsenal 4, Newcastle 0 last week. It was a long second half, Rob, but the first half, I thought Newcastle were okay. I thought it was almost a missed opportunity at times.
Well, it was safe to say that we were relying on Martin Dubravka. I mean, Kelsey Free's there. How many times have we said that this season? Of course, we have been reliant on Dubravka, but that's all part of having a good signing in Dubravka. People say, "Oh, we're very lucky because we're bottom on the shots, we're bottom on expected goals," which I think, as a stat man, I think expected goals is one of the worst stats you could possibly ever have. It's all about the main table at the end of the day, which we're 14th at the moment, 13th and 14th, yeah, and that's all that matters. Yeah, it was a difficult first half. We weathered the storm like we're often used to. Just a shame we couldn't get back into it in the second.
Yeah, I think Lee, you were obviously at the game last week, and first half in particular, Alan Saint-Maximin, his pace really scared Arsenal. And if we had more of a clinical striker who wanted to get into the box, Newcastle might have had more opportunities.
He was your only threat when you literally give the ball to him. I know he's one thing I don't want to be is a one-man team. You know, obviously we'll talk about Palace with Zaha later. Newcastle, you don't want Alan Saint-Maximin being your one-man team, but he literally was in that first half. He was getting with, never mind A to B, it was like A to C and lightning speeds. It was all coming from him. It really, really was. I know the Sean Longstaff shot, which was deflected and saved, is probably the only one that you would say, but in that first half, I mean, Hector Bellerin is quick. Let's not kid ourselves. He's one of the quickest defenders in the league, and Alan Saint-Maximin burned him for pace. But you're all right. The problem that we've got, and I think Joe Linton does get a lot of stick, but the problem that we've got is because we play so deep, Joe Linton just can't get up half the time. And it's easy to say, oh, you've got to get crosses in the box, but when you play on the counter, Almiron can't catch up. Joe Linton can't catch up, so Alan Saint-Maximin has to do it on his own. Nearly paid off, but same old, we just didn't score goals.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. I'm just having a look. Lindsay says, I'll take Hostler over Joe Linton. Sean saying here, need some goal scores like Joe Linton, while Joe Linton's playing this bad. Dave, obviously you see Newcastle regularly. Joe Linton, he just seems burnt out in my opinion. It just seems that he just needs a break, and the fact that Newcastle haven't got any of the strikers fit, especially when we played Arsenal, is it worrying that we just don't have any other options at the minute?
It is worrying, to be fair. You get linked with all these potential buys that you can have in your January transfer window, but they're all under the cosh because we've also got the takeover talks, and that is what takes the main priority. We don't think about signing anyone really for up front, and bringing in Joe Linton as a striker when he was, a winger for the team he was at, and expecting goals every game from him because he's our record-breaking signing. I think it's harsh on the lad, but at the same time, is he creating goals?
Is he doing enough for you, Dave? Should he be doing more, basically?
In my opinion, yeah, he should be doing more. As a marquee signing for it, he should be doing, the likes of what the chances Almiron created in the first season he played. You think about all the record-breaking transfers we've had, they've came into the club and made an impact. And he's the one that hasn't really made that impact. I see him more as a very deep lying striker rather than on the back of a defender. I just don't think he's got the technical ability to beat a man, so to say.
Yeah, I think every striker is different, and I think Joe Linton at the minute, he's just got no support. I think when he gets the ball, he's kind of expected to, almost like Dave's saying, like he's got the back towards a defender. He just can't seem to really deal with it, Robin. Does he need an extra man? Does Steve Bruce need to go, right, let's get Dwight Galen when he's fully fit, or can we put Saint-Maximin in a more central position to just actually help him out?
He's a sort of striker that will play well in a partnership up top with Yoshimoto, but of course if you do that, the $1 million question would be, who do you take out of the team, or more importantly, what position do you take out, do you sacrifice in the team so that you can have two up top? It's a real conundrum in that respect. But the way things are at the moment, Joe Linton is not a sole striker. He needs someone to feed off. And like you say, when we're up the pitch, when Joe Linton gets the ball, he's got next to no one around him in order to try and feed off to get so that he can link the player.
I think there's a person in the comments called Bobby Tyler. Stop criticising the players. It's tactics and management. Bruce end of. I think Bruce has got to take a bit of stick, because it's not just Joe Linton that we talk about. Miguel Almiron, how do you get the best out of him? So it's not just Joe Linton, how do you get the best of him? Because Almiron's wasted out on the right for me. I know he grafts hard, but every player should graft hard. But at the end of the day, you're not getting the best out of his ability because of the system that we're playing was so deep, man. It's so negative. I mean, if I was a neutral, I wouldn't want to go and watch Newcastle play. I'm sorry, I hate saying that as a Geordie. I wouldn't want to pay to watch Newcastle. We're awful.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to WhatsApp messages. Hi lads, love the show. William from Belfast coming over at the game on Saturday. Hope we get the win. Oh, it's worth the money for you, to be honest with you, William, at the minute. Straight up question, which is going to be more for part 3, but I'll keep it in mind. Should Steve Bruce be sacked? That is literally part 3. Steve Bruce, is he going to be the right man to take Newcastle forward? To make sure you stay tuned for that. Dave, second half against Arsenal, it was just an utter capitulation. Who gets more blame, the players or Steve Bruce, for that performance in the second half?
I think, personally, Steve Bruce. You see the way we played against Arsenal in the first half, and I think we played quite well, considering, you know, we're a defensive team. Our main aim to score goals is to counter-attack. I think we did it well a few times. We didn't get the lucky break that, you know, most teams do. But what's said in that half-time team talk to make we play completely different in the second half? You know, is it a case where he's using 2 minutes of the 15 to go, he's did well in that half, carry on? Or is he trying to change something to get that goal? And if it is a case where he's trying to change something, it's whatever he's trying to change is not working because we haven't got, you know, the outlet that we need to do that in order to score them goals. You've seen it a lot with Rafa last season. You know, would change for the better in the second half. So what is being said differently in the dressing room, you know, to have a negative impact on the second half performance of the players?
Yeah, for sure. I think it is fascinating. I think we could do a whole show just on Steve Bruce and tactics and different things, left, right, and centre. Rob, Valentino Lazaro is playing. He's playing a different position at the minute, right wing back, and he's definitely at fault for the first goal. With Aubameyang's fantastic header, it was 6 yards out. He's not going to miss that. Aubameyang scored 2 today as well. We got to Everton, man in form. It just seemed to take the stuffing out of us. It was almost like, can we get another 20 minutes still 0-0, or maybe even go 1-0 up with the pressure that we were kind of putting against Arsenal. I know it wasn't what Everton are doing, like scoring goals, but I felt the longer the game went, it was going to be more frustrating for Arsenal. But that was a real kick in the teeth.
Yeah, I think the way that Arsenal started the second half, they certainly started the second half the better team. I felt that we were unlucky not to take the lead in the first half, but that's just football. But the way Arsenal started the second half, they seem to replace their batteries with Duracell ones at half time. You know, chuck out the Asda brand ones or supermarket brand ones. Replace them with Duracell.
Drunk Tesco like?
All of a sudden, they looked fitter, they looked sharper. They deservedly took the lead, and before long, and I think getting a quick fire second was one that just knocked our confidence so much that it just seemed to knock belief out of the lads. So there was no going back from the second.
Yeah, you talk nicely, and it leads up to the second goal. And Lee, I kind of said straight away in our comment that Lazaro was again at fault for the second goal. Saka just breezes past both him and Bentaleb to then pass it at Pepe in the box, and Pepe puts it in the bottom corner. But you have you're a bit more different in that you think whoever's marking Pepe.
It's Danny Rose.
Danny Rose.
Yeah, where me and Sam was sat, we had in something like St James's today, we had little TVs in front of us. I mean, we weren't in the VIP section, now, don't get me wrong, but it was at the back, and we seen the replays back literally seconds later. And yes, Saka, brilliant piece of skill, and he's got 10 assists now this season, by the way, because he set up another one today. Literally does him on the wing. And you talk about the first goal, he should be doing better, I think, Lazaro, but the second one's just a bit of piece of brilliance. But Danny Rose is asleep, and I'm sure he gets mentioned later on, no doubt. And Pepe just peels off him, and there's a nice little easy side foot. And the thing is, though, that killed me. It was 2 goals in like literally a minute and a half. And it's just frustrating because if we held on to 1-0 for a longer period, we might have got back in that game. Obviously, ESM hit the post late, and again, if that guns in, that's a different story, but frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, Kieran Clark also had a great chance to put Newcastle back into the game, and you think after that, Dave, we didn't really do anything. Matt Ritchie came on and had a shot which almost hit the corner flag, which was probably our best chance after that. But look, Ozil then makes it 3-0 from a Dubravka mistake, and Lacazette makes it 4 with a shot that hits off both his feet and Dubravka can't get anywhere near. Was it more the fact that we just gave up early was the main reason why Newcastle fans were so frustrated at the end of the game?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the time, when any team goes down 2-0 down in that quick succession, you sort of ask yourself, how do we bring this back?
Your head's dropped.
Your heads drop, and then before you know it, there's another goal goes in because you're not in that frame of mind of, right, we need to defend now. You're in the mind, we need to go all-out attack. And obviously, depending on what's being shouted on the sidelines, you've got your instructions to follow. Do you stay deep? Do you go and try and get something out of this game? And I think sometimes it's a case of damage limitation with Newcastle.
Is that a sad thing though, Dave? Like damage limitation, like regardless of who you're playing, you could be playing Man City, Barcelona, Blythe Spartans. If you're accepting damage limitation, is that just a sad way that Newcastle are going at the minute?
Oh, it's no fan wants to watch that football. Like when you think about, do you want safety? Are you worried about relegation? Even the teams like Liverpool and that, are you wanting to win the title? You've always got the fans want to watch good football, and at the minute the fans don't get to watch good football at Newcastle. It's just defensive football.
When was the last time, and I'll ask all of these the same question, when was the last time you left the ground and gone, that was a great game? I know we beat Chelsea in the last minute, and that was really, really good.
4-4 Arsenal.
Yeah, but when was the last time you gone, do you know what? I really enjoyed watching that today.
Once this season, West Ham away. When we were 3-0 up after an hour, it was brilliant. It's like blooming hell, we'll come flying out the box. This isn't Newcastle. We should have been a lot more as well in that first half, because I remember ESM was through on goal and he squared it into, I think, was it Miggy?
Yeah.
There should have been 4 or 5-0 up. I know they've got a couple of consolation goals towards the end, but that's probably the standout game for me this season. I thought, God, we played well that first hour, but bits and spells. Everton, the 1-0 defeat for about 10-15 minutes. First half at Arsenal, but I'm clutching at straws, yeah. That's 2-3 games in bit spots.
It's not been great this season. Let's get a look at your comments. Bobby says, if Bruce goes, who would come in? Any suggestions? I think, are we kind of already thinking that? It's strange already. Let's have a little look. Sean says, same playing okay or well in first half, but he shouldn't be getting beat 3-0. If Dubravka wasn't in goal, it'd be a lot worse. Again, Dubravka's been probably our best player this season. Manchester City 2-1 last season, a game that we enjoyed watching, but again, that was 10 buses at the wall. Yes, the result was fantastic, but it's still, a tough game to watch, Rob, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
Let's have a look at WhatsApp. Graham says, I personally believe we're missing Shelby as a midfielder who can pick out a pass to get the best out of Almiron and ASM. Dave, you're nodding your head. Why do you agree?
I think we're lacking that bit of creativity in the middle. Shelby can get the ball at his feet, take a touch and find a 30-yard pass. He's just not getting the look of the draw at the minute, with giving Bentaleb a chance because he's a new signing, and Sean's not doing a lot wrong. He's capable of playing them unbelievable passes like he did yesterday. But you've got to think, Bruce, who's he going to take out to bring Shelby in? It's got to be either Sean or Bentaleb. And then, you're closing the door on people like Hayden as well, who's, a brilliant defensive midfielder in the slide tackles that he produces.
Yeah, that's part 4. We're going to decide out of maybe the 4 or 5. We've got Matty Longstaff in as well, who is Newcastle's best partnership. We're kind of accepting it's going to be 2 centre midfielders, and that'll be a great debate. Joshua Morpeth, who would you bring in now if Bruce got sacked? That's on WhatsApp as well. Joshua will answer that question, but we'll answer it in part 3 because that's where we're going to do a massive conversation. Obviously, Rob's got stats, I've got a few stats as well for all the talk on Steve Bruce. It was a massive talking point. Lee, Kieran Clark got injured and he didn't play yesterday. There's no real confirmation from the club how long he's going to be out for, but are we going to miss him?
I think he's been one of our best defenders this season. He doesn't get enough praise for me. He really doesn't. Do you ever say it? You come out from a game and go, Kieran Clark played bad today? You cannot say that more than 2 or 3 times this season. He's had a good season. He's more like, kind of reminds me of Paul Dummett, where he's the unsung hero, where he'll not get a 9 or a 10, he'll always get a 7. So I think we will miss him. He's a leader, he's a talker, kind of similar to Jamal and Federico Fernandez, where they'll talk to each other, they'll point, they'll argue, and the more leaders on the pitch, the better. I think Kieran Clark, if all 5 defenders are fit, for me, he goes ahead of Florian Lejeune. And Florian Lejeune, yes, ability-wise, you would say he's better, but overall, I'll put Kieran Clark on the left out of those 3 centre-backs. But yeah, to answer your question, he's going to be a big miss because Fabian Schär's not having the season like he did last year, and I know he's picking up the North East Footballers Writers tonight, isn't he? The award. But yeah, it's going to be a miss.
Yeah, Fabian Schär's going to pick up the main award show Longstaff. I think Morford maybe the second half of last season. Yeah, he's had some good games this season, and obviously the Wolves game mainly definitely pointed that out. He was one of the better players for sure. Stopped Neves and Moutinho playing, so obviously Florida deserves the young player of the year award. We're going to touch on with a little quick clip, 2-minute clip. Fordy and Sam, they were at the game last week against Arsenal. It's going to be a tough listen, but they tell the truth.
Compared to how we've been playing recently, I know we were on a 8-game unbeaten run, but that's probably the best 45 minutes of the whole lot. I thought we were pretty good. We looked dangerous. The only thing was we didn't take our chances. Saint-Maximin's final pass needs some work. Lazaro looked exciting. Rose looked decent on the left. Almiron and ASM were causing them all kinds of problems, and Joe Linton was playing well. So it's just a shame how the second half panned out, but on the whole, first half was pretty decent.
First half, just going back to it quickly, I think we just ran out of steam after the first 20 minutes. We was all over them, and then obviously got in half-time, good, 0-0. Second half, we just didn't come out. And with Lazaro, yeah, he probably doesn't play that, but again, you've got to jump. Even a little barge off the ball that could put him off. And again, free header for Aubameyang, one of the most leafless strikers in Europe, let alone the Premier League. That's it, it's bread and butter to him. And then second one as well, you get into, but he got nutmeg to ruin his career in literally 2 minutes. He did. Come on, he literally ruined his career in 2 minutes. Saka, phenomenal talent, nutmegs him. I don't know who was there picking up on Pepe, but it doesn't matter. After that, you clean through. All you got to do is just pick who's there who's available. Basically, that's the difference between the two. Though, with Arsenal, you had 3 or 4 men waiting in the box. With Newcastle, you barely had one, or not even one. So that's the difference between the two there, and it's 2-0. Game done.
75 minutes, I think the double substitution came, which the game had gone. I think to emphasise Fordy's point, we probably did shoot our bolt in the first half. We weren't switched on. From the moment that whistle went in the second half, we did not look switched on. 2 goals, bang, bang, game over. And it just didn't improve. He made the double change, changed formation. He must be watching our channel because I think he switched to a 4-2-3-1.
He does watch this channel, does Steve Bruce? Definitely Sam's been talking as well.
Later on he does.
Yeah, it's just finished at the Emirates. Arsenal 3, Everton 2. Back-to-back wins for the Gunners. A bit of a tougher game than they had last week. Arsenal move on to 37 points, and they're only 7 points off Chelsea, who have been a bit dodgy this season, has to be said. So obviously, I think Arsenal a bit back in the. Was it 36 or 37? Was it 37 points? Yeah, so 7 points behind Chelsea. Maybe back in the Champions League battle, of course, with Manchester City's UEFA ban as well, so who knows, might see Arsenal in the Champions League next season. Yeah, Sam was quite blunt, wasn't he, Lee? I think he desperate for a formation change, but I think you could sense the disappointment in his voice from the second half performance.
Sound like Alan Smith from Sky Sports,
does,
doesn't he? Look, it wasn't a pleasant show, and we were obviously hanging around with Arsenal fan TV and all that after the game, and it was cold, and obviously Fordy, and I'm sure Fordy will be brought up later on with his antics, but
he might.
I just think, it's just negative when you see that first half and it's a complete polar opposite. You kind of express your disappointment, and then you've got to travel all the way back up north. 40's a short distance, I know, but for us going all the way back up north, yeah, it's disappointing, especially with the carry on with all the storms blocking roads and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Let's get a few more of your comments. Does anyone think this takeover might happen? From Kieran, I don't think we're going to talk about it. I'm actually bored of it now.
Takeaway, yeah.
Exactly. Is that bacon, did you say? David says, Steve Bruce was struggling to win a game on FIFA, especially if he's playing against me, because I'm not any good at it anymore. Scott says, play 3 in midfield with Hayden Shelby, and if fit, put Miggy at the top of the 3. Joseph says if we lose to Burnley this week, Bruce will feel the pressure mount. Houghton won't come back while Ashley is here, says Lindsay. Paul says that's another thing. Why does Bruce wait until it's literally late to change things up? Palace first half getting battered, second half getting battered, still does nothing. And Tony says loose women is more entertaining than us.
We'll have to change that title. Never mind, Sunderland gets battered. It'll be us soon.
Exactly. Dave, just to finish off on the Arsenal game, there was no actual fit striker on the bench. Did Newcastle miss a trick by not getting a striker in January?
Oh, 100%. You know, you can look to the Championship for some, 8 goal a season strikers.
Or at least get someone on loan.
Exactly. Like, if you think, what is Mitrovic doing in the Championship this year? He's top goal scorer.
Would you have him back?
With the current situation, I think I'd have him back.
What about you, Steve, Rob?
Yeah. I think of course once he got into Rafa's bad books, it was very difficult for him to try and make his way back into Rafa's good books. But of course, Rafa's not here anymore. So I think if he does come back, it'll be a clean slate. Whoever would be in charge at the time. So.
Yeah, for sure. Lee, finally, you give Sean an 8 out of 10 in the player ratings. Why was he a lot better than Bentaleb?
Because he was more disciplined. I know you want to talk about the centre midfielders later.
Yeah.
I just think Bentaleb hasn't started life at Newcastle great, to be honest with you. I thought Sean's very hit and miss. And I know I've got some North Shields lads in this building with us, so very a little bit careful of what I say and all that. But you know what, we all want Jodies to do well, of course we do. I just think he was better. He was getting his foot in, and watching a game inside the stadium and watching it live is totally two different things. You see different things. Obviously, you'll see a wider picture of the game, but if you're watching on TV, you can see a replay. So it's hit and miss, but I just thought Sean was more disciplined and much better overall. And to be honest with you, if I had to pick the two, I'll pick Sean over Bentaleb, because Bentaleb's still in pre-season for me.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I don't know, Adam Armstrong scoring another goal. Remember him? At Newcastle didn't really get much of a chance, did he? And he's doing really well for Blackburn in the Championship, but as like Dave said, it was not worth a chance to really go in the Championship and see if anybody can go in and get a few goals. But definitely want to look out for Adam Armstrong. Hopefully,
his cousin goes out with my cousin.
There you go. That's this is the loose woman bit of the show. So there you go. And Rob will tell you.
And I can do an impression of Janet Street. Oh, I'm at it.
That was somebody at Selhurst Park yesterday. I thought that was a pretty good Cockney accent, to be fair. But Janet Street Paul, I don't even know.
That's the first complaint off.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Glenn says we weren't very good, and that's being polite. Bentaleb is a waste as well. We're going to have a quick break. And in part 2, it's all about Crystal Palace. It finished 1-0. And I think this might be a bit of a heated discussion. We'll be with you in a couple of minutes. part 2 of the Black and White show here on the Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. We just talked about Arsenal, a big defeat. We've got to talk about another defeat now. Crystal Palace, just to remind everybody who's just coming in, the results today. Manchester United 3-0 win over Watford. Watford actually had a goal through VAR, which I've just found out from Troy Deeney as well, so that could have made it 1-1. So maybe Watford missed a bit of an opportunity there, but yeah, Bruno Fernandes getting his first goal for Man United and putting the pressure on the top 4. Wolves 3-0 win over Norwich. Wolves really knocking on the door, really putting pressure on the top 4 as well. Should be a really fascinating race as well. And just in the last few moments, Arsenal win a 5-goal thriller against Everton. Aubameyang scoring the winner in the second half very early on to give them all 3 points as well. So yeah, Crystal Palace. Remember, you can actually speak to us on WhatsApp as well. You can give us a message. The number is 074 764 971 66, and we'll read them out throughout the show. We've had loads already. So yeah, don't be afraid to give us a message as well. Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 0. Former Chelsea, Sunderland and Newcastle defender Patrick Van Aanholt with the only goals before half-time to give Roy Hodgson's side all 3 points. Newcastle were poor, to put it blunt. But one change, Lee. Fabian Schär for Kieran Clark was expected. Were you expecting any more changes maybe going forward?
I was surprised Lazaro continues his position at right wing back. I thought Lejeune actually would come in, not Fabian Schär, to play on that left side. So that surprised me a little bit. I thought Hayden again on the bench, Richie on the bench. They're 2 of your better players on the side. But yeah, I was a little bit surprised, I'm not going to lie. I thought those 3 would be in that side.
Yeah, for sure. Crystal Palace started well, and what a save by Martin Dubravka. I think it's arguably probably one of the saves of the season, Rob, from Gary Cahill's header.
He just defies the laws of physics, doesn't he? Because he just seems to hang in the air and just doesn't seem to drop down for a long time, and then gets an almighty hand to it. Absolutely.
Well, Gary Cahill tweeted it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's gobsmacked by it.
It was like a picture, like 4 pictures of when it was as well. So yeah, very interesting to say the least. But he was a fantastic save, and Benteke had a chance where he had a free header 6 yards out, which went wide, and Zaha was always causing us problems.
I prefer Joe Linton over Benteke. Fact.
Not for me. Not for me. What about you, Dave? Who do you prefer out of the 2?
To be quite honest, I don't rate either of them.
You had to pick one.
Benteke 1 goal in 10 months, and even still, that was that was only down to little arms pick. But
after that header though that Benteke missed from the 6 yards out, or like 3 yards out even, I'd have to choose Joe Linton still.
Leave. What would you say?
I've got to have Joe Linton over Benteke. Joe Linton's not the worst striker in the Premier League. Not.
Definitely not.
No.
I have a controversial opinion here, but I think Moise Keane's worse. Everton's Moise Keane is worse.
I've not seen a lot of him, to be honest. Obviously, he was a Marco Silva signing, wasn't he? But yeah, I think obviously maybe he'll take a couple of years. He's still quite a young lad as well, so be interesting to see how he develops. So Joe Linton, yeah. I suppose Benteke, the only thing you've got against him is his age, but
Benteke's went the other way though. He's went down. Joe Linton can't get any worse.
Ever since Aston Villa for
Benteke. Last words.
You can't. I mean, Benteke's went down. Joe Linton's only going to go up. I know he's started absolutely horrendous, but you can't get any worse for her. No, you can't physically perform any worse.
So Joe Linton did have a chance though, Dave. He had a strike after his first 4 touches were just giving Crystal Palace the ball back. He has a strike and it does test quite, yeah. We need to see more of that, don't we?
I think he's proved that he can take a shot and it be a shot worth troubling the keeper, but he just doesn't do it enough.
It's not selfish enough.
Not selfish enough, nah. And you know, like if he was getting coached by someone that is an attacking personality, I think he'd be more selfish. I think he would literally just take shot after shot.
Is he a team player?
I think a bit too much at times.
I think that's what Steve Bruce is indicating, isn't he? He's kind of saying, look, I need you to be more greedy.
Yeah.
If you're my only striker, get in the box. Just do something where we can see a little bit more from you. But that was probably, Rob, the only chance Newcastle had that was on target. Obviously, Sean had a couple of chances that went over the crossbar. But Newcastle were very frustrating. They got into areas, like Lazaro got into areas, ASM got into areas, but Newcastle don't have any killer instinct at the minute, and that's so frustrating.
Yeah, but credit to the lads, I think we stayed in the game because we were only one goal. I know we didn't really look like getting back into the game at times, but we are much better defending than we are attacking. There was no doubt about that. So I think, and of course you can't have it both ways. If we strengthen our attack, then of course our defence would weaken. You can't have it both ways. But yeah, I think you just need to make a few adjustments, change the system a little bit up top. That could be the remedy in answer to the problems.
Yeah, for sure. Graham says on WhatsApp, do players not have the capabilities to be professional, basically, in saying that they should take the blame themselves and not on the manager at the minute? Excluding Dubravka, everybody on the pitch should be ashamed of their performance yesterday, Lee. Do you agree?
Interesting what Dubravka said, though. He was hinting on that there might be a bit of friction in the dressing room.
Isn't that not a good thing, though?
I think it is, because sometimes you just need fights will happen on the training ground, which a lot of clubs will try and keep quiet. I don't mind that, me personally. I think I like to show a bit of passion, that bit of care. Matt Ritchie, as soon as he came on, had to go at Alan Saint-Maximin for not tracking back. I like that, me. I know Alan Saint-Maximin's, yes, he's hit and miss going forward, but defensively he offers you nothing defensively. I think once he came back and done a slight challenge, but apart from that, I like that though. I like people having a go. I like bust-ups. It shows that you're passionate, that they're caring, and it is alarming if the I'll tell you what is alarming though, if the players if Bruce has lost the dressing room. You just hope that hasn't happened yet. I don't think it has, because there's a lot of speculation going on. I think the players are still with Bruce, but this is the time now, and I'm sure we'll talk about Bruce again later. Is that we've got 2 big games. If we lose them, I think the pressure will mount.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get a few of your comments in. Senchi says Richie needs a full rule to get the goals. He's the best crosses. Best crosses by his stats. I think.
Is that just Johnny can't read?
I've got a microphone in my way, but I should really get Rob to read some of these. But Sean says Maximin is class. He just tries to do it all himself. He needs to pass the ball, but when there's nobody there, there's no point. Richie should be starting and plays his heart out. Tony says I fear Chelsea will come in for Dubravka in the summer.
Alternatively, you could just read the other side of the screen where the comments are a lot more clear.
I know, I'm just trying to see as much as I physically can. Remember, if you want to get us on WhatsApp, it's 0747 649 7166. Yeah, maybe Chelsea might go over Dubravka, obviously Kepa and Caballero. It's worrying, that one. I've got a Chelsea fan actually sitting on the right hand side of me looking at me going, yes, I wouldn't mind him, but
it's quite a turn up for the books though, isn't it? Actually, Kepa actually going on the bench.
I know.
I think Dubravka is that next stepping stone player at Newcastle. Like you had Wijnaldum.
He's going to be sold on in the summer, do you think?
Yeah, it's
if you're going to sell him, you're going to sell him now, because he's coming to 31 now, and he's got a long contract. We don't want to lose him, but you're right. The best value, you could get 15-20 million for a 31-year-old easily.
But goalkeeper though, it's different with goalkeepers.
Yeah,
they've got a longer high.
But they spent a lot of money on Kepa. But
Kepa's awful.
Just going back on what we're talking about, the players and Bruce, and there's a guy that's just mentioned on WhatsApp a new message. He hasn't put his name in. But how long will the players stick with Bruce? And obviously we're going to talk more in depth with Steve Bruce, but just from a playing perspective, do you think maybe, Rob, the players give the manager maybe 6 to 10 games now in this sort of this world of the Premier League now?
It's not up to the players to decide whether or not they should play for the manager. I think they should play for the badge on the shirt. I mean, like we were talking about not so long ago about training ground bust-ups and what have you. I would much rather that happened between the players. Things like that, fractions occurred between the players rather than a player to a manager. Because if it happens from a player to a manager, that player is undermining the manager's position and position of authority. Whereas if it's between players, it shows that they feel they know where the problems are coming from, and that is fellow players. They don't have a problem with the manager per se. But I would much rather fractious bust-ups, if you like, would happen amongst players rather than the manager getting involved.
Yeah, I think it's obviously difficult, isn't it, for sure. But obviously there was a soft free kick towards the end of the first half, Fabian Schär given away. From where I was seeing, I don't know if you've seen it yesterday, Lee, I just thought it was very, very soft. I know it's obviously a fantastic free kick from Patrick Van Aanholt, but do you think, were you surprised that was given?
I can't really tell. I was only one or two rows in front of you. I couldn't tell from there.
I thought you were far because I was pretty much past the corner flag for hours. I was.
No, do you know where Fordy was sitting? I was like 3 rows in front of him, directly in front of him. I haven't even seen it back yet. I haven't had the time, obviously, getting the train back. But a lot of people are saying Bruce mentioned Dubravka a couple of times in his post-match, basically calling him out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Saying he should have done better. But I haven't even seen the replays back yet. I haven't even had the chance to watch the highlights. But you know, the one person that would give a stick and Bill on the pitch. It's not the first time a former left back of the Mackham scores the winner pass to her. But yeah, he puts the top corner. Dubravka, I don't know. I haven't seen him. Usual probably know about more than me.
Yeah, so Dubravka steps left as the free kick's taken.
And his weight's already on there.
His weight's already on his left. He still makes an attempt to obviously save it. But, you know, when you've got a wall stood in front of you and you can't see the trajectory of the ball, you know, of course you're going to think that he's either going to put it to your far side or you never think someone's going to come to your short side, do you?
No, I think what a lot of keepers tend to do though, what a lot of attacking players do when they get the free kicks, they always have somebody left-footed and right-footed. You might 99 times out of 100 you'd expect Patrick Van Aanholt to take that free kick, but if James McCarthy's just standing there, it gives you a little bit of doubt, and obviously it's worked on this occasion for Crystal Palace, but it was at the worst possible time, Rob, just before half-time, and Steve Bruce would have been thinking, could I just got me players in at 0-0 and maybe I could have galvanised them a little bit more, but it was just really, really sickening because you could tell even the fans were kind of expecting the goal to go in, expecting that free kick to go in the top corner.
So I'm just thinking, obviously I wasn't there at the match yesterday, but what was the reaction like in the second half? Because from what I heard, there was next to nothing happened in the second half.
Mike Ashley chance, that's all it was.
In terms of the Newcastle performance, though, was there a reaction? Was there a sense that Steve Bruce jeered the players, the players motivated during half time, or was it very much a case of
as it were? It was as it were.
Was it very much a case of Dittori de la Peste?
And who's he?
I think it's a saying.
Oh well, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's sort of like basically hiding your face, trying to ignore any issues that are there. I think head in the sand, basically. I think
the one thing I will say, Rob, is that we were basically doing exactly the same thing we were doing in the first half. And that Fabian Schär, Jamal Lascelles, and Federico Fernandez would get to the halfway line, be very scared, and would just play it sideways. And Danny Rose, a player that we'll mention in a second, was getting very frustrated. Lazaro didn't really get into the game second half, and I don't know what you thought, Lee, but it just seemed that most of the defensive side of the players were scared to go for it, really, apart from Fabian Schär's effort that Garita saved.
Yeah, it was a good long-range effort. Yeah, a lot of them were just trying to ping it diagonally, weren't they? And hoping that... even when you do that, though, you've got to win your second balls. We weren't even doing that. So if you're not winning your second balls, Palace pick up the ball again. That was numerous of times. Obviously, with the double change that came on, did it change it? No, it was as you were. And then the last 10 minutes, he tried to move Fabian Schär into that defensive midfield role and play a fault at the back. We had a bit more of the ball, but Gaeta only had that save to make, and it was an easy afternoon for him. You have to say them 2 long-range efforts. Apart from that, he was just standing on the post all game.
Yeah, it was tough. But Dave, 20 minutes from the end, Steve Bruce finally decided to make a change, and the fans were shouting and screaming and saying, "Do something." He brings on Richie, he brings on Gale, he puts Gale as the main man and moves Joe Linton out to the side, which we did see a little bit of that in the first half. But he had to do something, but why did it take us 70 minutes to do it?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the time it's clutching straws. You know, can the team that's on the pitch, you know, bring the level? Can there be that one moment where, you know, maybe Joe Linton gets that lucky break? And to be honest, if I was Steve Bruce and I turned around and looked at my bench, I wouldn't think any of them were strong enough to come on anyways.
But you don't think that's
Richie,
probably our strongest bench?
Quite possibly, yeah. But on that bench, your best player's a defender in Richie. You know what I mean? You've got Gale, who has proven himself in the Championship, but not necessarily in the Premier League. But against Palace, you could probably say that his pace would maybe get him a goal. But it just wasn't to be in that game, was it? And I don't think he's getting... I know he's coming back from injury, but even when he was fully fit, he's not getting a run in the team that's long enough to merit, saying that he's capable or not.
I think the one thing that I will say is Lee Gale. I think did he have more than 3 touches in that 20 minutes?
No, because all we kept doing was pinging it long and hoping that we win the first header. And like I say already, we weren't winning them second rebounds, so the ricochets, it was going back to Palace. And we made, and I said this on the videos with Isha, we made Jordan Ayew look like Neymar. And, you no disrespect to Jordan Ayew, but he's never one player. And any team in the Premier League, you would point out and think, oh, he's a dangerous player. But he ripped them apart. He ripped the fullbacks apart. Danny Rose had a nightmare. Lazaro didn't find, he had a tough afternoon with Zaha, so I'm sure you're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, just poor, very poor. And Dwight Gale, you got to look at himself and think, well, I've come on and I'm not getting the ball, I'm not going to score, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We talked obviously about lack of strikers, and there was a lot of boos towards the end. And
That was a corner shot round the
it was.
There is actually one on Crystal Palace's ground.
Yes, Sainsbury's, of course. Yes.
It was tough. Nabil Bentaleb's been in the news for a 2-finger gesture.
That didn't happen.
He said that it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
And it was. He's seen a couple of his friends in the away stand, and it's still not great though, Rob, is it? It's even little things like that, especially the fact that Newcastle didn't win the game. He didn't really play very well. Didn't look good though anyway, did it?
Well, I've not seen the alleged incident. I've not seen anything. I think Twitter would have latched onto it really quickly had anything happened. So I'm not going to comment on that. But I think his performances of late, last week, yesterday, it certainly requires improvement. Considering that central midfield is a place in the pitch right now where we're pretty much full to bursting at the moment. That's one of the most quantitative positions that we've got at the moment. There's a lot of competition there, and he's not doing himself any favours with performances as such.
Yeah, for sure. Right, Lee, I'm going to let you talk about Danny Rose. If you've got any comments on Danny Rose as well, WhatsApp us on 07476497166 as well. He hasn't set the world light since he's come in at Newcastle. My question to Fordy, and I'll repeat it to you, Lee, because he's used to playing with players with the likes of Tottenham, who are a lot better than Newcastle, do you think he's expecting that sort of football from some of the players that he's got around him? Because you can see that he likes to be so far out on that left-hand side and wants to be involved in the game, wants to take the team forward, but because he leaves so much space at the back, we're like, where is he?
I think he looked at his situation and thought, right, I've got to make the Euros. I'm not playing first team football at Spurs. I like it up north. It's easier to get home. There'll be a few selection of clubs, 2 or 3. I think Watford came in from, didn't they? And us. I think he would have known he's playing with a lesser quality. He would have known that. The football isn't great. Look, I've touched upon it already. You wouldn't go and pay to watch Newcastle. We're awful to watch on the eye. Danny Rose, he looks a bit heavy for me. He looks a little bit out of shape. He does like to get bomb on, but it's difficult in this formation because you can put probably Messi in this lineup, and I think, yes, Messi might score the odd 1 or 2 in a game, but I think Messi wouldn't get the ball hardly. He would have to do like saint-maximin, he'd have to do it on his own. So he's come in, I think it might be a contractual thing where he has to play a certain amount of games that might have convinced him to play, but realistically, so far, I'd prefer Jetro Willems.
Oh, for sure. I think
Mm.
Jetro Willems just looked sharper when he was at the club, but I think one thing I will say to you, Rob, if you want to, what were you going to say, sorry?
No, funny is you sort of stress that word sharper. I think when it comes to Danny Rose, how long has it been since he last had a proper run of games? Because for the best part of two years, would you say, that Ben Davies at Tottenham has been keeping him out of the Tottenham team? So how long has it been since Rose had a decent run of games? Willems, on the other hand, he was before he got injured, of course, he was match fit, he was ready to go every game. And yes, had several months worth of games.
Yeah. Dave, do you think Danny Rose was a Steve Bruce signing? Because you look at Valentino Lazaro, he's probably been scouted by our scouts. Nabil Bentaleb, no one saw that one coming. Was that a good deal for all parties? Danny Rose, you could imagine Steve Bruce going, wouldn't mind him, he's a good player, had him before at Sunderland. I'd have him at Newcastle.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a Bruce signing. And I was saying to Sam earlier, you know, what is the deal with loan to buy at Newcastle?
Do you not like it?
I don't really agree with it. Like, loan a player, say if he's good enough, buy him at the end. You know, if you're scouting a player and you've been scouting him for however long, you should know how good that player is. And you should know that as a manager you could make him fit in your system. You know, the amount of times, you know, the Pep Guardiolas, Jurgen Klopps, they just buy the players because they know they can change it. And he's had Danny Rose before, so he knows what he's capable of. Why hasn't he just bought him and said, this is how I want you to play, you play in this style? He's played for Sunderland, let's not forget. So he's capable of playing with lesser players. You know what I mean? That's not a dig to Sunderland, but, you know, they're not Tottenham standard either. Just
Danny Rose is
Newcastle
thinking of himself though when he wants the Euros. He wants to go. He's using us, and we're using him because we don't have Willems. I think it suits both parties. I don't think we'll sign him in the summer. I think we'll go back to Willems for the cheaper option and the cheaper wages.
Yeah, there's no obligation to buy in the Rose contract, and
I still think it's a good loan signing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's still hell of a coup. I just don't think he'll be made permanent.
But I don't see him. I don't see him even getting a whiff for England though. Even playing for Newcastle. You know, there's been many an English player at Newcastle who, you, as a Newcastle fan, you could say, "Oh, you know, he'll fit in the England squad nicely."
Yeah,
but I don't think we'll get looked on.
No, I don't think we do either. I think Gareth Southgate, you occasionally watch Shelby in the cells, but
maybe he just watches his godson, Freddie Woodman.
Probably. Another comment's coming in on WhatsApp. Whoever thought Joe Linton was worth 40 million, he'd sack him. Very similar to what Dave's saying. If you're going to sign a player, just sign the player. And sometimes it does work, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's what you probably get with maybe a Danny Rose or Joe Linton, etc., etc. Let's get another clip on Rob. It's going to be me, 40, and Owen.
Brace yourself.
A big discussion about the Crystal Palace and our player ratings.
Listen, the Danny Rose that we've got is the chip shop version that we've got. We've not got the 60 England cap version that everyone's bigging up. We've got the chip shop version. This is the reason why we're shouting that he loves fish and chips, because again, he looks sluggish, bruv. It's the reason why we had to haul him off.
To come back to your point about he thinks he's playing with better players. You're a professional footballer. You play with all different types of standards of players.
To counter that,
he's at the level that he's at for a reason. He's with us for a reason.
To counter that, all I'm going to say is he's played 2-3 games for Newcastle.
No, look at him.
No, come on, you've got to give him more of a chance.
No. Listen, I was watching the game when Cher had the ball, or whoever the centre back had the ball. Was he bombing forward? No. Even when he had the ball, was he bombing forward? He's supposed to be our left wing back, getting forward, up and down. He was barely getting up, let alone down.
Every pass was square. You never see him lift his head up and look around. It's always just backwards or square.
Danny Rose is probably one player that he would have gone, I'd love to have him. I'd love to have him.
In his heyday, yeah, but he's past it. There's a reason why there's a reason why Danny Rose is at us now. We've not got him at his prime. It's the reason why we've got him now.
He'd still be at Spurs at the end of the day. He'd still be at Spurs, yeah.
Sorry, by the way, off camera, we've got a Crystal Palace fan. Could Lascelles handle Benteke today? Not today, exactly. So and to say that he's one of our better players, nah, sorry, what have you been drinking? No. Dubravka was by far our best player because he kept it down to 1-0.
Why was scouting for a right wing back when we know? But why? But listen. Why are we scouting for a right wing back when we know predominantly this guy wants to be further forward?
I don't know. We've not got it right. Yedlin not got it right. Manquillo, yeah, maybe. Who else was there? How many times we've tried to get this right wing back position correct and we've not got it right, and we still not got it right. We're still trying to put attacking players back. It doesn't work, and we're getting called out. But we've got Matty Longstaff on the pitch. We've got Hayden on the pitch. Richie came on and he gave everyone a kick up the backside that rightly deserved. But why are we playing Shaw Longstaff there? And he had a shocking game. Sorry, but I'm tired of these Miguel Almiron defenders, because man's a road runner. That's it. He just runs around, does nothing. He's a road runner.
I've got a train to car.
I don't care. Listen, I need to get this out. The only player that's worth actually playing and bigging up in our front line is ASM. Miguel Almiron does nothing. No, he doesn't.
What did ASM do? What did ASM do?
I know he didn't. Listen,
you can't have a go. It's a great, massively disagree.
Jolin is better than Miguel Almiron. Today.
So what game are you watching?
What was it? Right. How many times did Joel Ward beat ASM today? Joel Ward. No disrespect, Crystal Palace Football Club, but Joel Ward.
What did Almiron do?
I'm not saying Almiron was any better. I just said.
Okay. Both of them two are better than Almiron today. Because again, I see attempts on goal. If you don't shoot, you don't score. And again, Almiron did none of that.
at the end of the day, we need what we're expecting from Joe Linton now.
Today, I don't think he actually had his worst game when he was moved over to the left-hand side. There was one where he nutmegged one and then went past another and then was like tripped or whatever. He didn't get a foul for it, but that was all right. But whenever he's in the centre, whenever he's up against 2 centre halves or 3 centre halves, however the opposition sets up, it just doesn't. He doesn't look suited to that.
That was a big debate, and I did catch me train halfway through that video, so I have managed to make it. But look,
That's a shame.
ASM, Almiron, Joe Linton getting mentions, Danny Rose getting mentions.
Almiron,
yeah. Lee, who was the worst player out of the lot yesterday for you?
Oh, there's a few like in there.
I'm going to go Bentleb.
Yeah, Bentleb had a really, really poor game. I think Almiron didn't offer out. I think Joe Linton on that left side looks a bit better, mind. Because he was moved over at that left-hand side for a good hour. I think he looks a bit better there. Obviously, he's played there for Hoffenheim left and right. There's loads. Danny Rose, I didn't think. Lazaro, obviously, because he was picked up the red card. But Sean Longstaff was awful. There's loads. I have to agree most of that. What 40 has to say, unfortunately, Johnny.
It's not great when you have to agree with 40. And I was thinking, when you watch it back, because obviously I was doing the interview, and when you watch it back, you're going, yeah, he's right there. He's right there. And then by the end of it, you're going, he was actually right with everything he said there, but on most of it anyway. The only thing that he got wrong was that when I interviewed him after the Villa game, he said he dropped Shelby from the whole team. He scored that goal against Man City.
He went on a bit of form, didn't he?
He did, so if he could say that about a few of those players, hopefully a bit of form going into the Burnley game. 14th in the league, 31 points, 7 points from the bottom 3, but West Ham do play Liverpool tomorrow, so you never know. Liverpool might win by 5. Dave, Burnley next on Saturday. Briefly going to touch about that. A tricky game. Burnley are in a bit of form, 37 points. You don't really want to play against a Sean Dyche side at any point in the season, do you?
No, definitely not. What was it last season? 2-0
2-0.
to us.
Yeah, Sean
debut goal on that one, right?
It's me and Johnny in the away one, wasn't it? Early on in the season, it was horrible.
It was awful. Don't go to Burnley, it's absolutely awful.
I think they're just a very, when they need to be, they're a very regimented team. And, it's very much Sean Dyche's way of football is...
Brexit.
Yeah, very much. We're going to study this team all week and we're just going to play the opposite to how you play.
It's you look at the sort of players they've got. It's very British, and they've got Chris Wood from New Zealand up front as well.
They had Crouch, man.
Crouch, yeah. But they've got players in form at the minute. They beat Southampton last week. They beat Bournemouth comfortably this week as well. And Rob, they're just brutes, aren't they? Like it's literally like a working men's club. Like that's how I can describe Burnley at the minute. And it's probably the one team for me. Like Newcastle will struggle against, and Joe Linton will struggle against if he plays. And for me, Newcastle are going to have to do something different to get anything against Burnley, and that's sad for me to say.
Well, in good form at the moment they are, Sean Dyche's side, but I think they were in very good form going into this fixture last season, I believe, and we ended up comfortably winning 2-0.
Yeah.
And I think we will need to play well, but at the same time, Burnley do not have a good record at St James's. They do not have a good record. I think, call it what you will, whether they're just overwhelmed by a huge stadium compared to one of their own. But yeah, they are very brutish. I do like Sean Dyche as a manager.
It's not like you, Rob.
They are very brutish. They do have a few strengths, both literally, you could say, strength. And we will need to play well. We will need to try and outsmart them because they've certainly got one over us in terms of ball.
Yeah, for sure. Dwight McNeil got on the score sheet. Lee, is he the main man or is it still Ashley Barnes?
It's a long ball, that's the main man. We experienced it at Turf Moor. We couldn't handle it. They're only going to play one way. Fair play, they play at their credits. And yes, we're having a bit of a giggle about it, but they play at their strengths going forward. So we don't play to our strengths going forward. We play it with defensive strengths. We know what we're going to get. It's going to be 4-4-2. It's going to come long. Every set piece, elbows, headers, crosses, set pieces, free kicks, Barnes, Wood. But they win second balls. I touched on that earlier on. They'll win that. They'll get it back in the box. They're very, very good at what they do. And obviously they're climbing the table. And for me, I think I've said this for a few days now. Just get safe, Newcastle. Just get safe. If it means a draw, pick up a draw. Just get safe because we haven't scored for 3 league games.
Yeah, it's the first time since 2016 in the Prem.
So we need to score. So we're going to have to score on Saturday to get something from the game. I don't think it'll be 0-0. I think Burnley will score.
Yeah, for sure. We've actually got a Newcastle fan from Italy that's just commented on our WhatsApp.
Mamma mia.
And is it, what's it called? Lazaro? Not Lazaro. Lazaro. Might be Lazaro. He's tweeting in from Inter Milan or wherever he is.
Oh, could be.
Not Inter Milan, that's Lazaro, isn't it? If Joe Linton played wide in Germany, why not stick him wide and put ASM up front? Just a thought. It happened a little bit, Dave, where ASM was through the middle against Crystal Palace and Joe Linton was put on the side, as Lee mentioned. Would you go with that?
Oh, 100%. I believe that the best performances you've seen from Joe Linton are when he's out wide. You know, he went out wide for, a couple of minutes against FA Cup.
Rochdale?
Oxford. He went out wide and he showed that he can beat a man. But in the middle he can't beat a man. Unless it's passed around that man. Whereas, if Joe Linton's on the left and Maximin's in the middle, Maximin's got that capability of beating the man and have the pace on the man.
The only problem I've got with that is you've got to get him the ball.
Yeah.
Balance it maximum, because we don't have much possession. If you can get him the ball, or if you're going to play him up top, at least play him in a deeper role up top. Not so much a false nine, but I don't want to say Firmino role, but he needs to play a little bit deeper for me.
Where you can run at a man.
Yeah, where you can turn and go, right, I'm going to run at you, rather than having the ball. Because you don't want him holding the ball up. That's not his strength. You need to give him the ball and run at you, and that's where he'll cause damage.
Yeah.
False nine, maybe.
Centre forward.
System.
Yeah, almost like as a cam position, where he plays as the furthest man forward.
Yeah, it's a big week for Newcastle. Obviously, they've got Burnley and West Brom in the cup, and that is a huge match for Steve Bruce and Paul's. But lucky to be in the cup. We are very lucky to be in the cup, to say the least. We're going to have a quick break, but in the comments, or if you want to WhatsApp us, get us your predictions for the Burnley game. I've got a couple in here. Newcastle will Burnley 3. Paul Hill being very positive there. But yeah, get your predictions in, and we'll get the predictions from the lads after the break. Rob, take it away. 2.5. We've talked about Crystal Palace defeat, we've talked about an Arsenal defeat with Steve Bruce at the helm, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. But we did ask for your predictions. 2-0 Burnley, says Bob. 2-1 Burnley. A lot of Burnley wins, yeah. Dave, what would be your prediction for the game on Saturday?
I'd like to think we could pinch a 1-0 win, but as you said before, you believe that Burnley will score, and I've got to agree. I'd like to think 1-0 tune, but realistically, 1-1 would be a good result for us.
1-1.
Yeah.
Lee?
I'll probably take that. So I can score first of all and stop the rot. So, God, these are the times where you're hoping for a draw against Burnley at home. Christ, man. Look, I think for me now, my mindset is just stay up now. Just get to the golden number now. I don't care how we play. I know we talk about performances isn't great, but that's gone out the window for me. It's just to try to stay up, and that's the main aim. So I'll take a point if you offer to say.
Rob?
I think 2-1 win for us.
2-1.
Go on, Rob.
We might concede the first goal, but I think we need that little spark or something to just kick us into action.
I'm going 1-1. I think Burnley will take the lead, Newcastle will get something, and I think it'll be a bit frustrating last 10-15 minutes. And Riley agrees with me, he says 1-1 as well. Right, Steve Bruce, I think this is probably going to be the most talked about part of the show. He is Newcastle's head coach, 31 points on the board, more than Rafa at this stage. His biggest win this season was 2-0 over Sheffield United in the league. It's never been an easy game with Steve Bruce in charge at Newcastle, Robin. The biggest.
It was never going to be an easy game. Whoever was in charge, even if we had Mourinho or
Pochettino
or a world beater, yeah. Like even if we had one of them at the helm.
Is he too negative, or is he just looking at what Rafa did last year and seeing that it worked, and that's why he's decided to do that?
Well, I think he tried his own style, didn't he, at the start of the season, and it just wasn't really working, was it? Because we kept on getting beat, if you like. There was no secret about it. It was what we had, his style. It just wasn't working. And he takes inspiration from Rafa. It's something that the players there are familiar with. Lo and behold, we started winning games around late October, November sort of time. And once he got that formula, once we had that winning formula, we were up the table. I think we reached, was it 8th at one point? We were just a matter of a few points off the European places. That's what got us into that situation. So I'm hoping that persevering with those sort of tactics will get us out of the situation that we're in at the moment. So I mean, I firmly believe Bruce is the right man for it.
Do you agree? Do you think he's the right man at the minute, Lee? Because there is a lot of pressure at the minute on him in the Premier League with changing the formation, doing something different. Are fans losing patience quickly?
They're starting to, yeah. But it's fickle because 6 weeks ago we were all singing Bruce's praises, and now it's been reversed. If we win 2 games, it'll be reversed again. It's fickle the way football is. I think if you look at the bigger picture, I think he has done a good job because we're on 31 points. I'm not talking about performances, I'm talking about results. We're on 31 points. We're still 7 points pulling off from relegation line. You ask any Newcastle fan around this table, if you offered that at the beginning of the season, at the end of February, you would take that. You really would. And again, I think Bruce has come in and he's looked at the tactics and thought, okay, because the pre-season he wanted to have his own method, and it was 4-4-2, wasn't it? And then he's, right, okay, we're not playing well, we're not getting results, let's use Rafa's system. I think he's trying to use that system and try to build on it with the flair that he has further up the top. But what he's struggling to do is we're not dominating the possession. I know possession isn't going to win you games, but it'll help you. And because we have no... And it's ironic that we're talking about the midfielders in the next section, is because they're getting cut out. You really, if you look at all the midfielders, there's not many central who would say he's had a good season.
I think that's probably the most frustrating thing.
And that's because you're relying on ASM, Almiron, and whoever's your striker to get you out of jail, because he's trying to work on Rafa plus more. I know we've lost Rondon, we've lost Perez, and if we stay up, does he stay that formation and then build further by bringing in a bit more technical players in midfield? You would like to hope so. If he is going to stay that, I want to change the formation, but I think again, for me now, I'll keep banging the drum. Just get safe now. I don't care. Just get safe.
The thing is, though, Dave, if you look at it as a glass half full, Newcastle are probably 2-3 wins away from another Premier League season. They're in the 5th round of the FA Cup, which we haven't been in since Mike Ashley took over the football club. If you were just looking at it from that, you could go fantastic, but there's just so many little things that fans have just had enough with already. And like we've had a few comments tonight saying, I want Bruce out, I want to get this manager and this manager. Chris Hughton's been mentioned, this, that and the other. Was Steve Bruce, for you, the only person that will work with Mike Ashley? Is that what it's come down to now? Are you prepared to work with him?
Sam Allardyce wouldn't.
I think he was desperate for a Premier League managing job. I don't think he cared who it was for. But I would say, before people say, I want Steve Bruce out, this, that, the other, think about that could be Premier League suicide. Look at West Ham, they sat their manager, got David Moyes in, they're still in the relegation zone. Would
it wouldn't make sense getting
form?
it wouldn't make sense getting rid of him now. It wouldn't.
Like, not this. We're into the late February, start of March. There's only a couple of months left of the season. There's no point in letting Steve Bruce go.
I think the only way that would happen is if then we went on that run of consecutive defeats and it was spiralling into going down the league. I think Charlie and Ashley will get squeaky bums and think, wait a minute, we've got to do something here. But at the present moment, I think Bruce has to remain until the very least to the end of the season.
Yeah.
Rob, if Newcastle were to pull the plug on Bruce, say Newcastle lose to Burnley, lose to West Brom and lose to Southampton, and we're getting dragged into a relegation battle, could you see Mike Ashley or Lee Chonny, whoever makes the decision, to go, let's get rid of him now and let's get somebody else in?
No, I think they would persevere with him because we've had some good moments this season. This season has not been a disaster, which many fans were expecting it to be. During the summer after Rafa left. I think this is a man that he's proven at Premier League level. I mean, slay me in the comments for all I like, but he's taken many teams to safety in the Premier League, and I think he's well equipped to do exactly that job.
Right, let's talk about the formation. At the minute, it's, how you look at it, it's 5 at the back with 2 centre midfielders and 3 attacking players. What formation, Lee, do we go with? Because everyone's got their own opinion. Sam saying 4-2-3-1. There's a couple of 4-4-2s, or I've seen 5-4-1. Or what would be the best formation for Newcastle at this precise moment?
Okay, so what do you do? Do you play at the player's strengths or do you play at the team's strengths? I think that's the way you've got to look at the balance, because I've said already, Almiron, you're not getting the best out of him. He's a cam role. He's done it I know the MLS is nowhere near like Premier League, I'm not going to kid myself, but Paraguay plays that role and he's lethal. And he's playing against Argentina, Brazil. I think he got man of the match against Argentina, didn't he, when Messi was playing? So if you're going to play that, you'll have to change that. How do you get a cam into that role? Alan Saint-Maximin prefers to play on the left, so you're not going to put Almiron on there. We've got a problem with the striker. I think we've got a problem with the 2 centre midfielders at the moment. Our best midfielder isn't playing. Defensively, wing backs, yes. But can we play a 4 at the back? Do we look more shakier? Who's going to protect the midfield? There's loads. For me, I think 4-2-3-1 would probably be the one I would go for if you had to put us on the spot, but I wouldn't feel confident doing it. I think it's the fine balance of defence and attack, and it's a difficult one to choose.
Dave, would you match Sean Dyche on Saturday and go 4-4-2 and say my 11 are better than yours?
I don't think I would. Not again. Just for the fact that their forwards seem currently to be more capable than ours.
To play to their strengths, don't they?
And I don't think we, in the matter of the week, could adapt ourselves quick enough to play that formation. I think it would be suicide.
A lot of both of you said though 4 at the back. If that's 4 at the back, who are the 2 centre backs? Because you can't start 3 centre backs with them.
If fit, it'll be Clark Lascelles.
Yeah.
But let's just say Clark's not fit. Is it Lascelles and Fernandes? Lascelles and Cher? Lascelles and
Probably Fernandes, because for me, Fabian Cher, as much as I love him in United, I don't think he's been in and out the side, and his form hasn't been his better was. So I'll probably go Fernandes and Lascelles.
Would four at the back, Rob, help the likes of your Danny Roses and your Valentino Lazzaros if he's playing with maybe a little bit more cover, maybe?
Might help Danny Rose in the sense that he's more familiar with a left back rather than left wing back. Lazaro, however, he's more familiar with right mid.
That's why you can push him further up, couldn't you?
Yeah, like have him as right wing back attack or right full back attack, to put it in Football Manager terms, and keep Danny Rose where he is. Don't bother with the overlapping runs. So similar to like a Paul Dummett when he played in left back, maybe.
Let's play Sheffield United's formation. Let's have overlapping centre backs. Let's have Fabian Schär at us.
Could you imagine? I couldn't say it, but talking back on Steve Bruce, do you think, Dave, Steve Bruce has the bottle to drop an ASM on Almiron to give Lazaro a chance in a more attacking position of, say, a right or a left-hand side, because we need to see him at what we believe as his best position?
I think the fans would rebel if he dropped ASM.
What's ASM done this season?
He's just
scored 2 goals, a couple of assists. He goes in a lot of runs, but there's no end product.
He just shows that he's capable of beating a man. There's no other player on the pitch that is doing that. That's what you want from a player is, beat a man, beat him once, get past him, try your best to score. He's doing that. Obviously, he's not, his decision making in the final third is not the greatest, but we've got no other player that has that, that good judgment in the last final third. I would drop Almiron and, change formation a bit, bring in Shelvey. You got 3 in the middle.
Shelvey's back in training this week, isn't he?
Yeah. Play a bit more attacking in the midfield, so you've got your outlet, and like Bruce said after Oxford, he's seen the real Sean Longstaff because Sean was playing an attacking midfield role.
Is that what you like to see, Sean Longstaff? Because his better games have been more further forward. He likes to get on the ball. He likes to. Obviously, you talk about playing those passes, but do you not think he has the capability of playing the shorter passes if he has the striker?
Yeah.
And try and get that balance. And before people say it in the comments, but could you see maybe like a Gerrard and Torres? He's got that capability to make that sort of passes.
Yeah. So I think he's got a better capability of linking up with a striker than he has of linking up with a winger. So him playing a deep centre midfield role, he's playing it either to the left wing back, right winger, left winger. I think he's got more capability of short play, 1-2s, to effectively get further up the pitch because he's an attacking-minded player, like he was when he was at Blackpool.
He was in the 23s as well.
Kilmarnock, under 23s. He was scoring a lot of goals for them in an attacking midfield role. So you've got to think, if you Bruce, maybe drop someone that's not doing well in Almiron, running around, quite frankly, like a headless chicken at the minute, not providing anything, and do you maybe change the way you're playing to suit going forward? But I think he's very concerned about conceding goals.
I think I'm just remembering, of course, Lazaro got sent off against Crystal Palace, so he's not going to play at least one game. I'm not sure if it's
either you just remembered or you saw someone write it in the
comments. I saw somebody write it down. I was like, oh yeah, he did get sent off, didn't he? But yeah, Rob, obviously I don't know if it's a 3-game ban, depending on the sort of red card it is nowadays. But
I think it's a red because it's a professional foul, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Deliberate. It was deliberate.
Yeah, I think it is.
It was a rugby tackle.
Potentially 3 matches it could be banned for.
So if that's the case, Burnley, West Brom, Southampton, 3 big games that we're not going to see. Valentino Lazaro, and then will he get back into the team? Who knows? Going back on Bruce, have we ever had a comfortable game under Steve Bruce's management at Newcastle? Like I've mentioned, the Sheffield United game in the league as our most biggest win, a 2-0 win, and that had a little bit of controversy. Sheffield United were the better team until Newcastle scored the second, and it was a bit more comfortable from then. Is that worrying?
Well, I wouldn't say it's cause for concern because, like I said earlier, our defence is a lot stronger than our attack, and once we get in front, we need to then focus on defence to try and preserve wins. We don't really have the means to go out and try and finish off a team, by 3 or 4 goals. We're a team that once we get the lead, all of a sudden, right now, let's preserve it, because we're not in a team where we're facing the likes of Bristol Rovers every week. We're not in a league where we're facing Rotherham every week. We're not in a league where we're facing Burton Albion every week.
Well, if
Bit of a common theme here.
Well, if we were playing Burton every week, probably we'd be top of the league, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would. Yes, we would. But then, we are in the best league in the world, and that means the best teams in the world. We are the kids, if you like, in this
Small
division.
fish.
We are not the ones who should be calling the shots, if you like. So when we take the lead, preserve it, try and get the 3 points, which is the priority, if you like.
I've got 2 big points. I'm going to touch about the FA Cup in a second, but Lee, tactically, what's been Steve Bruce's best performance this season?
Tactically, you would say Sheffield United away, wouldn't you? Because we were second.
Spurs?
Good shout. Spurs, Sheffield United. Because I would say Sheffield United, in terms of that, we played worse. I thought we were shocking at Sheffield United. We were woeful. One of the worst performances this season, but somehow we came away, and we all were scratching our heads back on that short journey back up A1. How the hell have we won that? Because we just didn't deserve. So tactically, that was brilliant. Spurs away was fantastic. That was just a memorable day all round. The West Ham performance 3-2 was brilliant, going 3-0 up.
The Chelsea game at home.
Chelsea,
Man United,
Man City.
there
There is some bright. You cannot just slate Bruce, because there has been some bright sparks. Not so many, yes. Performance-wise, we don't dominate teams, and we've only, like I mentioned earlier on, we're not going to dominate many teams for the rest of the season. But hopefully, the FA Cup, which you touched upon, will be a night to remember and get in the quarters.
Yeah.
Out of the teams outside the top 6, we've taken more points off the teams in the top 6 than any other team.
Yeah, which is remarkable in itself.
It's a great achievement, and Bruce has earned that.
Man U at home.
Yeah, that was one of the
Man City
best
at the draw.
ones.
Yeah.
Man United was unbelievable. I'm probably going to touch about that in the final bit as well, because I'm going to touch on Matty Longstaff, and does he deserve a more of a prominent role in the starting 11? Dave, now FA Cup obviously is a big thing for Newcastle, and we're in the 5th round. First time we've done that. Potentially 2 games away from Wembley. I know we struggled against Rochdale and Oxford, but we're there. It's a big opportunity. If Steve Bruce was to get us into the quarters, and I know maybe going a bit too extreme here, but if he gets us to the semi-finals, our first game at Wembley in the FA Cup, not against Spurs, obviously in the league, do you think he'd be given more time by the fans? Because it'd be a great day out. We get to go to the semi-final of the FA Cup. Potentially at the minute we're 4 games away from Europe and an FA Cup. I know it's a massive ask considering who's done the Cup, but he's not that far away from creating a little bit of history at the club.
I think you definitely get more time from the fans. You've got to look at it and think, as long as we're safe in the Premier League, the FA Cup is the biggest chance for us to have a bit of fun. So I think the fans would definitely back him a bit more. Would they back his style of play? Probably not. I think there's still a lot of fans that would be like, this is boring to watch. But if it's getting results, then fans tend to stick by results rather than stick by what they're seeing. Especially with this Newcastle.
It is difficult. It's tough, but like we went to Oxford. Well, you went to Oxford. I went to Rochdale, and everyone was talking inside the ground. Like, I bumped into my former manager, a big shout out to Chris, and he was saying, "I'd love an FA Cup run. I'd love to go to Wembley and enjoy the day." And for me, the fact that we're 2 games away in the West Brom game, he has to play his best 11, what he thinks is his best 11, surely.
I think he will. There's obviously talk about Slaven Bilic won't, because his priority is now to get up from the Championship, which I think they'll probably do now. But then again, it wouldn't surprise me, because West Brom have a lot of lower end Premier League players. It wouldn't be a shock if West Brom put out. It wouldn't be a shock if West Brom dominated the play. And it wouldn't be a shock if we went out even by penalties. It's kind of know it's got to end on the night.
Who's favourites?
I'd say West Brom. Slight favourites because they're at home. And the winning games. I know it's Championship level, but winning breeds confidence. If we were a little bit undefeated going into this game, we'll be a bit more optimistic. But
we've only lost 3 games this year.
Yeah, but you've seen the teams we've played though. Like, we're struggling to put out Rochdale. We took 2 games, Oxford. So look, we don't play pretty.
Two of those 3 defeats were Leicester and Arsenal.
Yeah, which we're not expected to get now. But to answer your question though, I just feel that it wouldn't be a massive shock. I would love us to go through, but we're all at West Brom. We'll all be devastated, of course we will, but it wouldn't be a huge surprise.
Yeah, it's. I think that as well as the takeover talk, David, you look at the fact that that's kind of accelerated after Christmas and the New Year, with the Wall Street Journal saying that something's happening with Amanda Stavely again, who's been linked with buying the football club. That's gone very quiet at the minute. He's had to juggle all that as well. If you were to give Steve Bruce, say, a rating out of 10 for the job that he's doing so far, what would you give him?
6 or a 7. You've seen the stats before the January transfer window, and he was doing better than Rafa was. And that is a big ask considering we lost 2 of our best players in Rondon and Perez, who were the goal threats. The defenders are the ones scoring the goals, and we're playing a defensive team. It's
backwards, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but somehow it's happening. So I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10, based on the fact we're seeing that we're going to be safe. Hopefully a takeover happens, but you don't hold your breath on that one.
The reason why I keep saying let's just get safe is because the takeover won't happen if we're in the Championship. If there is any sort of takeover, our value just drops massively and we lose half the squad.
You'll keep the value of the club, only you'll say that it's still worth this because we've still got this team.
So even if the takeover was real, which I very much doubt, we'll not sell it in the Championship.
Yeah. Well, Josh from Morpeth, we did answer that question in our own little way about the takeover. You can thank Dave for that one. Rob, ultimately, final one with you, Steve Bruce. Is he good enough to take us forward?
Good enough to get us where we need to be, yes, but I think next season is the potential for a clean slate. Of course, if there's any truth in these takeover rumours, then the off-season would be the ideal time for it to happen, and all of a sudden, if that does happen, then we go forward from there. But then we need a review during the off-season. We really do, and whether the board needs to take a good hard look at themselves, ideally sell up, but if they're here to stay for another however many years, then is Steve Bruce the right man to take us forward? I don't know, I can't answer that. But I think to on the safety issue, I think one easy way of looking at it is that we're 7 points clear of the relegation zone. West Ham and Watford, they're on 24 points. How long will it realistically take West Ham and Watford to get their next 7 points, do you think? 5 games, maybe?
Possibly 5
4
games.
4 or 5 games? Yeah, so during which time, how many points do you think we'll get?
Considering the run of games we've got, like I'm just off the top of my head, Burnley, Southampton, who we've got Sheffield United, Aston Villa.
West.
The last thing you want, if we go on that run, the last thing you want is playing Liverpool at the end of the season.
God knows, we don't want that. Get your comments in on WhatsApp as well. It's 074 764 97166, where you can message us. This is the last chance where you can do that. In our final part, we're going to talk about centre midfielders. Who gets in as the 2 best centre midfielders for Newcastle? Is it Sean Longstaff, Matty Longstaff, Isaac Hayden? I haven't really talked about him. Is he Newcastle's best centre midfielder? We'll talk all about that straight after this. that was Lady Gaga, Born This Way. Dave singing along with Lee.
Oh yes.
Hasn't heard it in a while. We've got a special guest, even more of a special guest. Also we've got Dave. We've got Sam as well. He's got a massive Geordie accent, but a big Chelsea fan is our Sam.
Unfortunately.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, how's that happens?
Just always was from a young age. Family.
Let me guess. After 2004.
Before, actually. 2002.
It just so happened to be one of the Champions League and Premier Leagues.
No, it's funny. It's funny how things like that happen. But no, we've obviously I used to work with Sam as well. He's a good friend of Dave's, and yeah, he was. He came into where I work, which you can't see on my shirt.
Was he friends?
Friends. After the game against Chelsea at St James's, where Newcastle got a last-minute winner with Isaac Hayden. What did you make of the game, Sam?
Heartbroken. Devastating.
What did you make of the last-minute winner? Do you think it was just typical Chelsea, the fact that it was...
Oh yeah, it was another long ball in the box. What we're worst at. We cannot defend to save our lives at the moment.
It's funny how little things like that have in common with these big clubs, Rob, isn't it? But we're going to talk about centre midfields. We'll touch about Isaac Hayden first. Why not? He scored against Chelsea, and we haven't seen him since, Lee. I've put it out there. He's the best centre midfielder at the club, but he's not getting played. Why is he not getting played?
Couldn't tell you. I have to agree, we're best on form the past 12 months, ever since the carry on, I want to leave. And obviously it looks like he had his personal problems has now been fixed. Obviously his daughter was ill, or his girlfriend was ill, or even both. It was one of the two. And that's all set and resolved. We did find it a bit weird that as soon as Rafa left, Isaac Hayden was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm staying. I felt that was a bit weird. But he is our best midfielder on form. And the past 12 months, he's probably a little bit unlucky to not get on that England side, because he's better than Eric Dyer for me. 100% he is. So for me, he has to be your first pick, and then you pick a one of four around him for me. In this formation, because we're very defensive, I think he has to. If you play an attacking formation, yeah, you can pull him out. But in this side, he has to play.
Yeah, for sure. Isaac Hayden is our best centre mid, is also our best right wing back at the minute under this formation, as Lee's saying. Why is he so crucial to how Newcastle play, Rob? Because he just seems to be the key almost to Newcastle doing well.
I hope he's not key.
It wasn't, but it could be. But no, in your opinion, Rob, how vital is he in the centre of the park for Newcastle?
I think he's an excellent box-to-box midfielder. He certainly has it all. He's certainly got a great tackle in him. He's that great holding midfielder, if you like, to protect that back line. I think he's crucial. He's exactly the player that we need. Exactly the sort of player that we need. Not only does he do a good job, he grafts hard, does everything to a top class standard. I think he's an asset to the team.
Dave, Isaac Hayden kind of nurtured Sean Longstaff last season, and they had a really good partnership. Do you think he has that effect on like the younger players? Like he has played with Matty a couple of times. Is he almost someone like a role model, do you think?
I just think the ability that he's got creates the ability for other people to look better around him. As Rob said, he's got a great tackle in him, and in the formation that we play, that is what you require.
Feel more safe with him, didn't you?
And I think when you say that he's played alongside Matty, Matty just seems to be that player at the minute that's got the determination to chase after anything.
Yeah.
Because, he's young, he's hungry to learn, and he's also he wants to break out into the team as a regular. I think Hayden is probably the best man to go alongside players like them in terms of getting the best out of them.
For sure. Sam, Nabil Bentaleb, because he came in and from outside you're thinking that's not a bit of bad business from Newcastle. Someone that played for Tottenham, did okay at Tottenham, done well for Schalke as well since leaving the Premier League, and Newcastle kind of got a little bit of a coup when you look from before he's picked the ball. Do you think that he's similar to Sean in the same position that they're kind of playing? They like a lot of touches, but they just don't have the players around to play the quicker game at times.
I can see you when you say that, but I don't. I think Sean's got a bit more about him. I think Bentaleb's a bit of a name because of the Spurs. Spurs connection kind of got him where he's got in the starting spot. Don't think it'll last long. I think that'll should get taken away. As you said with Hayden, he'll come in, or he should do anyways. It was a big name when you got him. Well, at least in this and
In Newcastle, yeah. Don't be afraid to say it, Sam. Don't be afraid to say
don't want to hurt any feelings.
We support our local club.
Hurt.
But Bentaleb, Lee, we've seen him play against Oxford, and I think the Oxford game at home was probably his best game. And he wasn't really great against them either. But what does he need to do to improve this team?
Get fit, I think. For me, Kyle was saying that he wasn't shocked to see him in that starting lineup. I was against Oxford. I was like, whoa, he's just literally coming straight in the starting 11. This is his pre-season, and it might take him until April to get like the best out of him. And can we afford to hang on that? Probably, maybe, because we're a few points above that relegation line. For me, he has had a lot of disciplinary problems wherever he's been, but this is his chance now to grab a move. If he doesn't get it from us, maybe to another club, and he's not producing. I know it's early doors, but come April, if things haven't changed, I think he'll go back to Schalke or he'll move on somewhere else. For me, currently, at this present moment, he's not the answer.
For £10 million, you could potentially buy him, Rob. From what you've seen so far, is he worth a chance if he has more games in his engine, basically?
So far, I'd say it's still too early for me to give a definite answer. But the way things are going at the moment, I'd say no. But I'm open to changing that verdict in the near future should he improve.
It's £10 million, though, Rob.
Nowadays,
is it just worth a chance anyway?
Nowadays, that's pennies. If we get relegated, hope we don't, touch wood that we don't, then definitely.
John Joe Shelby. I'll get your opinion, Dave, on this one. Is he Newcastle's most creative midfielder by a distance?
In terms of the position, the formation that we play, definitely. I think he's probably the best with the ball at his feet, going forwards slightly before playing that world-class pass that everyone knows he's capable of. So I'd say he's definitely the most creative in that term. But has he done enough to merit being that? Say if you only take one midfielder out of the current team, has he done enough to merit that player not being Hayden? Has he done enough to make it him, not Hayden? And I don't think that he did.
From an outsider looking in, Sam, everyone you hear the name John Joe Shelby, he's better than Newcastle or West Ham, those sort of clubs. He should be playing for maybe a team like an Everton or Leicester, maybe someone just outside the top four or in the top with his ability alone. What's holding him back?
He's too inconsistent. Every time I watch him, it seems to be he doesn't just stick a passer by, but then all it takes it's that one spark, and then he does it. Like the City game, that we're all watching it, everyone was slating him, and then the last 10 minutes he changes it, and then it's completely different. Everyone loves him, but then it's just there's some games he's the passenger, doesn't do anything. Well, it seems to me that he doesn't do anything. Could be wrong, but then I don't know. It's just you kind of have to have him in your team, but then for the sake of you'd rather have Hayden. He's like Shelby's a luxury, I'd feel. Where like if you can compact the midfield enough to be able to have him in there, do it. But if it's last resort, you want Hayden there or you want Matty there, someone that can put a tackle in, put a shift in, and get up and down the pitch, which I feel Shelby can't. You can spray the pass, and obviously with a reference to goal, ball travels faster, you know. But I'd say he's a very good player. Put it that way.
Lee, Newcastle seem to win games when he's in the team this season. Do you think that's how much Steve Bruce likes him? If he's playing, we're winning games.
Shelby's already said that. Bruce didn't mention names, but he felt happier, didn't he, in pre-season already after a few weeks under Bruce. Because Bruce, I think, is probably the better man manager than what Rafa is, but Rafa will get you more out of the player. Steven Gerrard has said that, hasn't he? So the problem that with Shelby is that he had the licence to get a little bit further forward under Bruce, but he gets injured. You've talked about inconsistency, that's probably one factor, but when he does start playing well, there's that niggle thigh or muscle injury that he always seems to get, which disrupts his season. Every season he's been here, for the Championship, because he played most of the Championship games. It's and you think, oh, is he ready for England? Is he ready for England?
He was on the verge of an England.
And then bang, injury.
That 3-0 win against Chelsea. So he was arguably the best player on the pitch, and has he improved since that game? That's probably the best question I can give you.
No, because he's too inconsistent and he's too injury prone. I think Shelvey now is getting to that age where he's in his late 20s now. His next move is his final move, I think, in terms of big move. So whether he signs that contract extension, which he has hinted he's happy where he is, or he moves to another club, he has to now start producing and start trying to be injury free, because he is talented. I would have him in my start 11. That's probably give you a little bit of clue. You would go my 1 out of 2, so I would have Hayden and Shelvey if both are fit. I think they both suit the formation.
Right, we're going to move on to the long staff. So we'll start with Matty, Rob. Is his contract negotiations keeping him out of the team at the minute?
I don't know, but one thing's for certain is that is a huge priority for us. I think keeping Matty Longstaff in the team, in the squad, I think keeping both the Longstaffs in the squad, at the moment they are the future of the club, and at the moment Matty's contract running out at the end of the season, there's just that little bit of discontent rumbling amongst me and I'm sure many other fans. So I want that to be seen as a priority move to go and get that done.
How worried are you that he won't sign a new contract?
There's still time. There's still plenty of time. We're in February right now. The contract will be up in June, July-ish, sometime in the summer. So there's still time for negotiations to be done. I think we might have to be open to him being sent out on loan next season, maybe to a high-level Championship club, just to get some regular first-team football under his belt at a decent level as well, just so that we can prepare him for so that he can be the future of Newcastle in years to come.
Dave, he couldn't have had a better start at St James in the Premier League. 1-0 winner against Manchester United at the Gallowgate.
Credit to
Bruce. You've got to give him, he took a chance, and him and his brother, we'll touch about Sean in a second, but he's, like you say, you've mentioned before, he's a burst of energy. He wants to go for every ball. You know, he got man of the match by Sky for that performance against Manchester United. He hasn't put in many poor performances, to his credit.
No. I think it's just the age that he is wanting to show everybody, not just, the manager, he wants to show the fans that he is capable of standing up here with the big boys. You know what I mean? Like, he'll go up against the likes of your Loftus-Cheeks and that, and put a tackle in against them. He's not scared to. Where certain players would be for injury's sake. He's young, he's not had injuries, he's not been out for a prolonged amount of time. He's not scared. He was always considered in school the better out of the Longstaff brothers as well.
Was he really?
During the school, all the teachers would have said it. Obviously, I didn't really see it at the time because I was in the same year and playing in the same teams as Sean. But he was always considered to be the better. So maybe he's a loan move. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but is it necessary for Matty to go out on loan after signing the big contract?
I think the contract is the big discussion, Lee. But again, I'm looking at performances and going, was he that bad against Chelsea? Was he that bad against such and such? And he hasn't really. I don't think he's had many bad games for Newcastle. I don't think it's even worth him going on there. I think he could, mix it with the lads of Shelvey, Bentaleb, Matty, Isaac Hayden, and go, I want to be in this team. I want to be in this too.
I think, you wouldn't loan him out. I agree with you. I think he's already on the cusp of the first team. He's only 19. He's just a kid, just a Ben, isn't he? And he's still in awe of everything around him. He's like, oh, is this happening to me? I like his affection. He's happy. He's funny. He talked about Matt Ritchie slapping him on the head and little daft stories where you can tell that he loves the place. And obviously he's got his brother. He's obviously off the field. He'll know more than me, but they're not like, they don't hang out. They have their separate friends. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, definitely.
So, they'll both want to stay. It's just, I think, getting their future right. And of course, agents will have a play and they'll want their cut, of course they will. Matty's obviously free to talk to European clubs at the minute, which is alarming. And maybe they have a few figures. Maybe they might lie at the club and say, oh, we've been off, whatever. I think Matty will stay, but I agree. I think he has to be in and around the first team. He's a different type of player. He brings the energy, a bundle of it, and he's one of our own. You talk about Carroll, you talk about the Longstaffs, Dummett. You want them in that dressing room being Geordies.
Yeah, let's quickly touch on Sean in the last couple of minutes of the show. Sam, he set the world alight when he came into this team last year, scoring against Blackburn in the FA Cup and standout appearances against Manchester City. Pep Guardiola gave him the highest of praise last season. From an outsider, probably hasn't worked as well this season, but he's still capable of getting very good performances. Like I said, I've touched about the Wolves game. Lee rated him very highly for the Arsenal game. Do you think that he maybe needs to be taken out of the team temporarily, just to maybe have a couple of games to see where he's going wrong, and then maybe towards the back end of the season in the FA Cup games, we might see a better Sean Longstaff from now at the end of the season?
Possibly. But I don't know. But every time I watch him, he is better going forward. So he needs to be the one that's allowed. He needs to be given the freedom to go forward. He needs the Hayden behind him, as you touched on earlier. That them two together were good. So I don't know why he has gone away from that, or don't know if it's injuries or whatever. But then for me, Sean, you have to play him up front. Well, not up front, but like further forward. He needs the cover behind him. But it's just he's as scared, but he's so compact that you just haven't really allowed the freedom for him to play the way he plays.
There's several players that can say that don't play at their strengths.
For sure. Dave, is there unfair pressure on Sean at the minute because Matty's doing really well? Fans are kind of not happy with some of the recent performances. Is there just so much unfair pressure on at the minute?
I think some fans look at it as, these are brothers. One of these is obviously better. I'm going to just criticise the one that's not as good because the one that is better deserves a chance. I feel like Matty looks better because Matty is a natural centre of the park midfielder, whereas Sean is a more attacking midfielder. And I think it's harsh criticism when you're asking an attacking style player to play defensively. It's like asking a striker to be a centre back. You know what I mean? It's like you need to make them tackles and be the difference in this game. Whereas, you could be the difference in that game by scoring goals rather than being that man at the back. But he's certainly getting criticised in some games, which sometimes is unfair, sometimes is fair. He's not being great, but he's not being really poor.
Yeah, he's not been the worst at times. He's had a couple of poor games, which Newcastle player hasn't had a couple of poor games, has to be said. Rob, very, very quickly, out of those five that I've mentioned there, if in the formation that we're playing, who's the two that you're putting there?
Hayden and Shelby.
Is that the same for you, Lee?
Yeah, but I just want to point out, we just received over 1,000 messages in the live chat tonight.
Wow.
But yeah, those are my two as well.
Dave?
I'd go off last season and think Sean and Hayden.
Sam?
I'd say the same, Sean and Hayden.
Well, it's a bit of a mixture. I'm going at the minute Shelby and Hayden, but if Sean can have the same sort of impact that he did last season with Isaac Hayden, he gets in front of John Joe Shelby for me. Yeah, we're into the last few seconds here of the Black and White Show. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Rob, Lee, and I want to big thanks to Dave and Sam who have been on their first show. Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah,
it's been good fun to talk about.
Come back on
if you want. If you need us.
Oh, well, there you go. Must be doing all right. Big week for Newcastle. It's Burnley next Saturday. We're going to be touching all about that game as well. We might even mention the FA Cup. It's a 5th round match. What's one of those? Exactly. We'll be touching about that as well. Can Newcastle make it to the quarterfinals and get a win against Burnley? Well, thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody in the live comments. And we'll see you next week on the Black and White Show on Nova Radio Northeast.
When I walk into the kitchen, you saw the look on my face. You saw the look on my had to get out of this place. I seen something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple blossoms, go on pizza. It's a fruit